Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'd like to welcome all the devotees. Thank you very much for joining us today, and wanted to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can learn a little bit more about Katyayani Vrata, and hopefully also look at the fourth canto or as an overview. So this Katyayani Vrata is a month-long vow. Vrat means vow. Katyayani is the Durga form of the Lord. At least that's what it can mean. It's the worshipping the demigoddess Katyayani, a form of Krishna's material illusory energy, Durga Mata. Katyayani is often worshipped for temporary material gains. So Durga Mata is often worshipped by those who want affluence, material affluence, perhaps a Lakshmi, perhaps a wife, like that. But Krishna's cowherd girls, the gopis, worshipped her to have Krishna as their husband. So that worship is considered pure. That worship is considered a requirement in order to become a gopi, in order to attain Krishna. The Bhagavatam describes how the gopis followed this vrata. In the chapter entitled Krishna Steals the Garments of the Unmarried Gopi Girls. That's chapter 22 of the 10th canto. And there it describes how this vrat was followed by the gopis and how Krishna fulfilled their desires through the stealing of the garments. But this time, we're not going to talk about the stealing of the garments because we've got some young devotees in this audience. But there's a different take, actually, by Jiva Goswami in Gopal Champu he's given. So I was wanting to go through that a little bit and see where we got to. At the end of Dwapara Yuga, 5,000 years ago, when Shukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj heard how in Treta Yuga, Ramachandra went to Dandakaranya forest and met with the sages there. So these sages, they were praying to Ram for a loving relationship with him in Madhurya Ras. They'd been chanting the Gopal mantra for a long time. So Ramachandra, he said to them that in this present incarnation, I can't accept you as you desire because I've taken a vow of one wife. But when I come as Krishna in Dwapara Yuga, then surely I will fulfill your desires in Braja when you've come in the families of the gopis. At that time, I'll accept you as my beloveds. So,
yes, fine.
Okay. As the Lord declared, so it came to be. The sages achieved sadhana, who achieved sadhana siddhi. So through their devotional practice, eventually they took birth in Braja from the womb of the gopis. And so what happened? Early in the morning, when they were 3, they were quite advanced even at the age of 3, because these were sages in their previous lives. They were born as gopis in Braja. These sadhana siddhi gopis, they were collecting flowers and peacock feathers near the banks of the Yamuna. They had natural love for Krishna. Therefore, they collected anything that gives Krishna pleasure, happiness. As the young gopis were doing this, a beautiful flute sound entered their ears and made their hearts restless. They sat and closed their eyes and only drank this nectar, losing taste for everything else. After a long time, their external sense returned, but their bodies had no strength remaining. They felt empty and lost. So this flute, of course, sound came from Krishna's flute, and because they had that bhav, they heard the flute, and it completely captivated them. When they returned home, their parents were concerned for them, seeing that they did not eat anything and appeared morose. The gopis would not respond to the inquiries of the parents and only remained in a corner of their room, weeping. When other gopis came to visit, they did not speak to each other, but only sat and cried together without expressing the pain that had overwhelmed their hearts. These pains are, from a material point of view, painful, if you like, but from an internal spiritual point of view, this is the greatest ecstasy that they're feeling, but outwardly looks like pain. Oops. The next morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, these gopis went in groups to the bank of the Yamuna. As they walked, they sang together, and this uplifted their hearts somewhat. Arriving at the Yamuna, they prayed there, bathed, and sang of the beautiful pastimes of Krishna. For some days, the gopis continued this practice. Gradually, their longing for Krishna increased until it was unbearable. So on the first day of the Hemanta season, Bhagavati Purnamasi. Now, Purnamasi is a very interesting character in Brajalila. She's actually manifestation of Yoga Maya. This is Krishna's Maya, the internal energy of the Lord. And from her comes the external Maya, Durga Mata. So she is the source. So she's a very important personality. So she's completely spiritual, and Durga Maya is within this material world. Purnamasi is in the spiritual world. She controls the Yoga Maya, the internal energy, internal illusory energy of the Lord that puts the devotees under the illusion that the Lord is not the Lord, and puts the Lord under the illusion that he's not the Lord as well. So this is quite a complex area of philosophy and Braj Leela.
Prabhuji, from
Yes.
her comes the Durga Mataji?
Yeah, because she is the source.
Internal.
Yeah, she's the source. She's Yoga Maya, and from
Uh-huh.
Yoga Maya comes Mahamaya. Ultimately, everything comes from Krishna, of course, but she's the immediate source, if you like, of Durga Maya. Durga Maya serves her. Does that make sense, Naniben?
Yes, I just got a bit lost. Yeah, perfect.
Good, yes. Thank you. Keep asking like that. Huh? She arrived at the Yamuna, and she talked to the gopis. Dear gopis, I understand the pain in your heart. I know why you are suffering. You heard the sound of Krishna's flute and drank its nectar. Now you cannot bear being apart from him. Although you are quite young, there were three, your desire has matured. I understand everything. Today, I will give you a mantra to follow as a vrata for this month. By doing so, all your desires will be fulfilled. Every morning, continue to come here to the Yamuna. Make a deity of Devi. This is Katyayani Devi. Out of the sand and worship her with Padya, Agya, Achaman, Pushpanjali, Bhog, Shringhar, Asan, Arti, and Pushpanjali. So this is standard worship. Arti, basically. Then chant this mantra intently while meditating on your objective. Devi will directly accept your puja and fulfill your desire. So this is the mantra. Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayogini Advishwari Nandagopa Sutam Devi Timeke Namaha. O Goddess Kalyani, O great potency of the Lord, O possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, please make the son of Nanda Maharaj my husband. I offer my obeisances unto you. So there's three aspects here. There's Goddess Kalyani, and you could say that's Durga Mata. O great potency of the Lord, that is Purnamasi, the internal potency. And then there's the possessor of great mystic power and mighty controller of all, and that's Radharani. So there's three aspects to this mantra. So the prayer to the external energy. Why? Because although she's the shadow of the internal energy, Yoga Maya, Mahamaya, that's what it's called as well, it can bewilder everyone. as it does us, is completely bewildered us in this material world. She makes relations between conditioned souls and then cuts these relations. If Mahamaya cuts one's relations and attachment to someone, then that attraction is finished. So they pray. They're encouraged to pray to Mahamaya, Katyayani, to free us of material relationships and attachments. She will cut off those material relations and free us to serve Radha and Krishna. She closes, so that's one aspect, important aspect, because if we're still attached to our material relationships, then there's no question of attachment to Radha and Krishna. She closes the eyes of our material friends and relatives so that they become blind to us and let us be without disturbing us. So this is the first prayer. Then next is Yogamaya Bhagavati Purnamasi. She established a relationship and connection with Nitya Siddha Vajdevis. So that's the Nitya Siddha gopis, those who are eternally gopis in that Madhurya Leela Ras. She helps us achieve sadhana siddhi and furthermore connects with this Nitya Siddhis in Nitya Leela. The prayer to Purnamasi is give us a strong relationship with Guru, Vaishnav, and Radha and Krishna. If we don't have connection with Vaishnavs, we cannot develop relationship with Krishna's eternal associates and then cannot enter Krishna Leela. So the first prayer is to the external energy, keep our material relatives away from us. Second is let us become close to the Vaishnavs and the eternal associates, especially the Brijbasis, to make us close to Krishna. And then the third prayer is to Srimati Radharani, the Supreme Ishwari. She's the source of everything, Yogamaya. Prayers to her mean to accept her shelter and always serve her and follow her footsteps. Radharani has the power to show us and establish our relationship with Krishna. If she asks him on our behalf that, hey, he is a nice devotee, won't you be merciful to him? Then he will readily accept us as his own. So this is the three aspects of this prayer that the gopis were given by Purnamasi. So one might ask, why do the gopis worship Katyayani Mataji, Durga Mata, right? So in the fourth verse of Bhagavatam 10:22, Prabhupada says that Durga Maya, their worship, is different from the Durga Maya in the material world. According to various acharyas, the goddess Durga mentioned in this verse is not the illusionary energy of Krishna called Maya, but rather the internal potency of the Lord, Yoga Maya. So the name Durga, therefore, refers also to that personality who functions as the internal potency of the Lord, who is thus on the platform of Suddha Sattva, pure transcendental existence. This internal potency, understood to be Krishna's sister, known as Namsh or Shudbhadra. This is the Durga who is worshipped by the gopis in Vrindavan. Several acharyas have pointed out that ordinary people are sometimes bewildered and think that the names Mahamaya and Durga refer exclusively to the external potency of the Lord. So this can also refer to Yoga Maya, this Katyayani. And there was a room conversation where Prabhupada talked about Durga being an advent of Radharani. So actually they're quite interchangeable. Getting facilities to approach gopis, they worship Katyayani, forgetting Krishna as a husband. So we, according to the order of Govinda, therefore, to approach Govinda, if one prays to Katyayani, it is very helpful. And devotee is asking, Katyayani is also Durga? Yes, advent of Vrata, maidservant. And that was the end of the conversation. So, okay. Now, there's a really nice pastime, actually. Purnamasi gave the mantra to the gopis, and they chanted it with great determination to achieve their desired goal. When coming every morning on the bank of the Yamuna, they first made a deity of Devi out of sand. That was her instruction. They became surprised to see that even after bathing the deity, she did not fall apart. They offered the deity articles in archan and then chanted the mantra. It seemed to them that the personified deity of Devi appeared directly before them. By continually chanting the mantra, they began to feel a swelling of happiness born of awakened faith that Krishna would surely accept them, that no mundane person would be able to touch or disturb them. They felt, my body is now the property of Krishna. Krishna will protect me, allow me to serve him. After their worship and arti, the gopis offered obeisances to the deity of Yamuna Devi so that she would not be disrespected in their absence. They then returned to their homes before sunrise. During the day, the gopis fasted and remained silent and meditative. In the evening, they took a small amount of milk and fruit to maintain their bodies. So it's also described in the Bhagavatam. We forgot to mention that verse actually. The first verse, that they would take a small amount of khichdi without any salt. That was their fast. The whole month would be a small amount of khichdi without any salt. And then they would take some milk and fruit in the evening. The gopis' parents would ask them,
what Vrata are you doing? Are you following? Now Chaturmasi is over, so what Vrata can you be following? What mantra do you chant and who is your guru?
but the gopis only smiled and acted reserved. Internally, by the power of their absorption, they began to witness the pastimes of Krishna in continuous stream. The gopis had so much bhakti and prema for Krishna, but were worried about their future.
Soon I will be young and my body will be very attractive. Many dog-like men will come to attack and acquire me for their enjoyment. How can they be blind and not observe me? I desire to be the sole property of Krishna.
They were afraid that soon they would be married off and sent out of Braj. When the gopis' parent began to think, I will arrange my daughter's marriage, then Yogamaya and Krishna orchestrated a wonderful Leela. Now, anybody know what Leela this is? Tough question, by the way. What Leela was orchestrated so that Krishna could marry all of the gopis?
Nandme?
Taking away their clothes? No?
No.
Taking away Krishna's somebody, taking away his. Somebody came and took everybody away.
Karuna?
All the Gopas.
Yes, very good.
Brahma Vihom.
Well done, well done. Lord Brahma came and stole the calves and the sakhas and put them in a cave. And then Krishna, thinking he could not return to Gokul without all his friends and calves, assumed their exact forms. Krishna could have immediately chastised Brahma and recovered his associates. But to satisfy the desire of the Brajbasis and the gopis specifically, actually all three, it was the mothers the mothers, because they wanted Krishna to be their son, right? Every mother in Braja, they wanted Krishna as their son because Krishna is the Supreme Lord. The gopis, they wanted Krishna as their beloved. And the cows, because they wanted him to be their calf. So he fulfilled all of their desires in one go. Krishna acted as if nothing had happened and returned to Gokul. So he'd expanded himself as all the gopas and the calves. This pastime continued for 1 full year. That was just a few moments for Brahma, but for us, full year. During that time, all the acharyas, priests, brahmanas announced to the Brajbasi parents and elders.
This year is very special and auspicious. All the unwed girls should be married during this year. If you arrange this for them, they will have happy and auspicious lives free of difficulty.
The Brajbasis agreed to this proposal and arranged marriages for all the young girls at Govindakund in Govardhan. Hundreds of yagya kunds were prepared, and throughout the day, sacrificial fires were burning brightly with the ghee, kindling, and grains offered. All the Brajbasi mothers and fathers brought their daughters after arranging the girls' marriages with the parents of their qualified sons. Madhumangal, Sridham, Sudhama, Dama, Vasudhama, Labhanga, Arjun, all the Sakhis were married. Sakhas were married. Thank you. Srimati Radharani observed this fantastic display of ceremonies along with her Sakhis and considered, who
Who are all these boys?
She recognized Krishna and understood that although the boys appeared to be the same sakhas as always, in truth, they were all none other than Krishna. And each of the gopis that were married to the sakhas also realized that in truth, they were Krishna. He had changed his external figure and then alone married millions of gopis. Radharani then exhibited mana, anger, and only when Krishna in his original form fell at her feet and supplicated her for grace did she finally forgive him. Srimati Radharani and her Sakhis were also married that year. For 1 year, all the gopis had the chance to openly speak and spend time with Krishna. In this way, Krishna fulfilled the gopis' desires to have him as their husband. This is a phenomenal pastime. After 1 year, Brahma, for whom the time had passed like a few moments, repented and returned the sakhas and calves. The sakhas went to their homes thinking it was the same day, they thought. Right? This morning I went with Krishna and the calves to the forest. We all entered the mouth of Aghasura. That's what happened. And fell senseless from his poison. Krishna rejuvenated us and accompanied us home. So this is what they were thinking, that it's the same day. They were missing for a few moments, if you like, of their time in Brahma, with Brahma, but actually it was a whole year. In that whole year, suddenly they were married. But they hadn't realized, they were thinking it's still the same day. So then they kept asking, they started asking, hey, who is this girl living in my house? Because suddenly they're married, so-called married, right? When their parents reminded the inquiring sakhas that the gopis were their wives, they became astonished. What happened? Oops. In disbelief, they ran to Krishna and they asked him, dear brother, do you know why the gopis live in our homes? Our parents say they are our wives. Krishna calmed the boys down and said, after you entered Aghasura, his poison had a lingering effect. And so I sent the gopis to help you at home. They are all Devis, goddesses, and are to be greatly respected. By their divine influence, you will be free of the poison of Aghasur and will never have any disturbance. Now, Sakhas, they had complete faith in Krishna. So they said, yes, that is good. We will respect and honor the gopis, but can never consider them as our wives. So this is one of the leelas that is amazing leela that's taken place. So actually, gopis were all married to Krishna himself, and for 1 year at least, they had the company of Krishna directly, one-to-one. In Yavat, Abhimanyu thought. So Yavat, Abhimanyu is the so-called husband of Radharani. So he was thinking, Rishabhanuraj Nandini, Srimati Radharani has come to my home. I will worship her daily. He never went in her room and himself lived in a room built outside the house. He would bring flowers, fruits, honey, milk, and other things and give them to Jatila and Kutila, saying,
Please give this to Radharani.
why don't you give them yourself? They would reply. You never spend time with her.
No, I cannot. He was very shy.
You will not?
No,
Why?
I'm insignificant. She's Vishabhanu Raja Nandini. I will honor and worship her only.
He had no desire other than this. The Sakhas never considered gopis their possession or objects of enjoyment. The gopis did not go out of Brajamandal, and they were not contaminated. When they went to meet Krishna, they were never disturbed. So this is the pastime of Katyayani Vrata, one of the pastimes. The other one is the stealing of the clothes, but that we won't go through that today. But this Vrata is not for everybody. It's not for the karmis, gyanis, or the yogis. This Vrata is for those who specifically want to serve Radharani under the guidance of the Vajbasis, the gopis. This Vrat is not for those in Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsaliras. It's only for those who want to worship Krishna in Madhurya Ras. But by truly following this Vrat, one can become naked of any material desires, possessions, everything one previously valued. Following this Vrat will make one a sannyasi. It's a really tough Vrat. If one does not fear renouncing everything and becoming a destitute beggar in rags, going from door to door and have no more helpers or friends or relatives, then you can try to follow this Vrat. This is what will happen, because it is exclusive devotion to Krishna. But if one wants sense gratification or opulence of Dwarka or good health, wealth, name, fame, followers, disciples, temples, opulence, then there's no need to follow this Vrat. This Vrat is completely different. It's against this world and the body and the sense in the mind. So it's unique. And this is one which those who completely want Krishna in Madhurya will follow. And of course, it's far too early in our stage of spiritual development to know who we are in terms of our eternal identity with Krishna. Okay, Katyayani Vrata ki jai. Any questions on that?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice explanation. First time I went to Vrindavan when Maharaj was narrating this Katyayani Vrat. It's really difficult. What he said is the khichdi that the gopis would eat, they would make only water, dal, and rice. That's it.
Yeah,
boil it, and then they will pour it on the floor, on the ground, and both hands crossed behind their back. They will kneel and eat from the ground with their mouth. Whatever they can take, they take. Otherwise, they don't force. They don't use hand. They don't use salt. They don't do ghee, nothing. And it was so, yes. And even if we see in Ramayana, Sita Devi, she also prayed to Girja. Girja is one name of what is of Durga Ma. She prayed to God Lord Ram as her husband. Here the gopis are praying Katyayani. Katyayani Ma is as you said, form of Durga. So yes, just wanted to share this experience. It was very nice. Thank you.
And actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, during Chaturmasya, he used to do the same. He used to do the same khichdi and eat it in the same way, because he actually is from the spiritual world. He is one of the manjaris serving in that mood. So it is a vrat for somebody who is in that category of devotee, not for everybody. Great, thank you so much. So